You know what's funny? Everybody's obsessed with how they look when the lights are on. Cameras rolling, people watching, the crowd's there suddenly. Everybody's a warrior. Everybody's disciplined. Everybody's tough. Everybody's got their back straight and their chest out. But the question that actually matters, the one that will haunt you if you avoid it, is this. Who are you when nobody sees you? That moment when you're all alone in your room, no applause, no Instagram, no pat on the back. Do you still do the work? Do you still push that extra rep, read that extra page, shut off the distractions, or do you cut corners because no one's going to know? That's the thing, no one's watching. But you're watching, you're the only witness. And the person you're going to live with for the rest of your life is the one who knows whether you showed up when it didn't matter to anyone else. Think about that. Every time you say, hey, I'll skip it today, you're teaching yourself that your own word doesn't mean anything. And every time you show up, even in silence, even in boredom, you're building something way scarier than talent. You're building trust with yourself. And that trust, that's the difference between the guy who talks about what he wants to do and the guy who just walks out one day and shocks the world. Discipline, when no one is watching, defines who you really are. Think about that for a second. Not who you are on your best day. Not who you are in front of your boss, your coach, your friends, or that person you're trying to impress. None of that really matters. What matters is who you are when the door closes, when the lights are off, when there's no scoreboard, no spotlight, no audience clapping their hands for you. That's the real test. That's when the mask comes off and your true character gets revealed. Anybody can be disciplined when the pressure's on. Anybody can show up when the world's watching. That's easy. That's instinct. But when it's just you, just silence, just your thoughts, your doubts, your excuses, that's when discipline actually counts. That's the version of you that decides what the rest of your life is going to look like. Because here's the thing, the world eventually finds out who you really are. You can fake it for a while. You can put on the face, talk the talk, post the motivational quotes, even fool people into thinking you're dialed in. But you can't outrun reality. Sooner or later, the truth comes out. And the truth is shaped in those private moments when you choose either to honor your word or to betray it. Most people think discipline is this loud, aggressive thing, grinding in the gym, sweating buckets, showing off the hustle. But real discipline, it's quiet, it's subtle, it's boring. It's waking up and doing the work even when no one texts you, good job. It's turning off Netflix, even though no one's going to call you out if you don't. It's eating clean when no one's checking your plate. It's having the uncomfortable conversation with yourself instead of numbing out with distractions. That stuff doesn't get likes, that stuff doesn't get applause, but that's where greatness lives. That's where confidence is built. You can't cheat that process because the price of cutting corners when no one's watching is that you know you didn't show up. And then you carry that. It becomes this little voice in your head whispering every time you want to step into something bigger. Yeah, but remember all those times you folded? Remember all those promises you broke to yourself? That's how people end up playing small. They don't believe in themselves, not because the world told them no, but because deep down, they know they've been lying to themselves. Now flip that around. Imagine the power of stacking up wins in silence. Imagine the self-respect you build when you keep doing the right thing, even when it's invisible. Nobody knows you read that book cover to cover. Nobody knows you hit your workout 6 days in a row. Nobody knows you stayed late or studied longer or skipped the easy dopamine hits, but you know. And that's a weapon, because when you step out in the world, when it's time to perform, that voice in your head isn't mocking you anymore. It's reminding you of the work you've already put in. It's saying, you're ready, you've done this, you've earned this. That's a different kind of confidence. That's unshakable. This is why discipline when no one is watching is so rare and so valuable. Most people only move when they're motivated by fear of judgment or hunger for praise. Take those away and they collapse. But if you can move without any of that, if you can move just because you promised yourself you would, that makes you unstoppable. You don't need validation. You don't need someone clapping. You're powered from the inside. That's dangerous. That's the kind of person people look at and go, damn, where did that come from? It came from the nights nobody saw. And let's be honest, discipline is never glamorous in the moment. It's uncomfortable, it's repetitive, it's lonely. But that's the point. You're not supposed to love it all the time. You're supposed to do it anyway. That's the separation. The people who only act when it feels good versus the people who act because they decided to. That line, that's the line between mediocrity and mastery. Ask yourself, how many times have you set a goal and quit the second nobody cared? How many times did you tell yourself, I'll just skip it today, no one's gonna know? You knew. That's the whole game. And every time you do that, you're sending yourself a signal, my comfort is worth more than my commitment. Every skipped promise, every broken habit, that's you teaching yourself not to trust you. And when you can't trust yourself, how can you ever expect to take big risks, chase big dreams, or stand tall when life hits you? So, yeah, discipline when no one's watching defines who you really are, because that's the part no one else gets to control. That's the part where you either build the kind of character that can handle success, or you build the kind that collapses the moment the weight gets heavy. Think of it like this. Life is constantly giving you little secret tests. Most people fail them, not because they can't pass, but because they think no one's keeping score. But the scoreboard is inside you, and it never resets. The reps you skipped, still there. The shortcuts you took, still there. The nights you stayed disciplined, also still there. And eventually the scoreboard gets revealed to the world. And when it does, it's brutal, because there's no hiding. But if you can embrace those invisible tests, if you can treat those quiet moments like the only thing that matters, everything changes. Suddenly the game isn't about impressing others. It's about proving to yourself day after day that you are exactly who you said you were. That's freedom, that's strength, that's the foundation for everything else. So next time you're in that moment, standing there with no one around to clap, no one around to see, remember, that's the defining moment. That's where the real you is born. That's the battle that counts. At the end of the day, it's not about who claps for you, it's not about who notices, and it's definitely not about the likes or the validation. It's about the person staring back at you in the mirror. That's the only one who really knows the truth. You can lie to everybody else, but you can't lie to yourself. Discipline, when no one is watching, isn't just a habit, it's your identity. It's the proof that your word means something. It's the quiet, invisible work that builds a foundation so solid that when the world finally does see you, they can't deny what you've become. So when that moment comes, and it will, when no one is checking on you, when no one's around to care, remember, that's the test. That's the moment that defines you. Pass that test enough times, and you'll look up one day and realize you've built something unbreakable inside yourself. Don't live for the spotlight. Build in the dark, earn your own respect before you chase anyone else's, because the person who wins in silence will always own the stage when it's time.